My people always had tales, stories and fables of the darkest of nights approaching the horizon. It was not a narrative construed to make children scared of the danger that lurks after the sun sets. No, it was more like a series of warnings, legends of a time in which the night will come for all and swallow every hope, every bit of joy, engulfing every heart in darkness and despair. For many cycles, I walked among the stars, searching and searching, never sure of what exactly I was looking for. Maybe I was just trying to find a light that could stay lit when every other light withers away. It's pure irony, I know, that this legend was seen as nothing more than silly nonsense, a ghost of our ancestors that still lingered in the hearts of fools. And that maybe, if I would have been more careful of what was happening around me, I could have stayed away and escaped my fate. But I was back in my own town, when the hearts of my people shed any residual doubt and gave in to pure and unyielding fear. The darkness came and took us all. When I came back to my region, I was bringing news of my latest discovery. My work as an explorer and researcher always kept me from caring one iota for the mundanity of politics and the obnoxiously stagnant life in the palace. Maybe if I paid more attention, I would have realized that the situation was far more dire than I perceived it to be. I don't know. I was away for so long. Who could have imagined that eventually the stability of the king could be threatened and overthrown, turning every individual associated with the previous court into an enemy? I wasn't an enemy, nor of my people, nor of my land. But the authorities that now held the power of life and death in their hands thought otherwise. Fortunately for me, I wasn't deemed a serious threat. As I said, I'm just a researcher. But my affinity with the king, well, previous king, was enough to sentence me to solitary confinement with no trial, no explanation. And it's precisely in that confinement that the nightmare made itself manifest. I went to bed in the cell they threw me in and woke up surrounded by the people of Elysium. The people I spent years trying to foster and educate about the great potential they could achieve, the great things they could perform, the miracles they could one day engineer. They were a very primitive species, but their hearts were pure, and I felt that as soon as I heard their song. It guided me in the vast nothingness like a beacon of hope. They rejoiced when I landed on their island. They celebrated the merging of my knowledge with their thirst for understanding. They absorbed all they could manage and reshaped the way they interacted with the world around them, integrating into their pure hearts the spark of grandiosity. So how was it possible? How, in the name of all that is sacred, could a successful experiment like that twist itself into the mess I was now gazing upon? The beautiful landscape they shaped with their singing was now an industrialized mess of abhorrent temples. Idolatry and worship of demented, raging pseudo-deities covered every inch of every building. Why buildings? Why? They dwelled in caves surrounded by nature. They respected their land, and their land respected them. Such a symbiotic relationship tarnished by the hands resembling the one of my very own kind. Was I followed in my journey? Was my knowledge somehow tainted with the inescapable and mind-crumbling ugliness and brutality of civilization? No, couldn't have been. It was only a dream. I'm sure of it. The odds of such a pristine paradise turning into a facsimile of my own land, I refuse to believe it. I refuse to believe that such gentle creatures morphed into savaging animals warring around covered in blood and dust. I refuse to believe that the song they were chanting to brighten the essence of the sky turned into roaring gurgles of the machine of war and misery, substituting sublime harmonies with screams of pain and agony. I refuse to believe it. I simply